And what it does is essentially makes it so there's a public funding option. So unlike the failed presidential public funding option system, which is a joke, Obama didn't take it, I wouldn't either. The clean election system, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with, provides full public funding. So if you want to run for office, you get enough signatures in your district with a small $5 qualifying contribution, then you get 100% of the money you need to run for office, but you can't get any private money. And so when I found out about this, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is one issue that really brought everything I cared about together. Like I could be an anti-war activist, I could be an environmentalist, I could be a healthcare activist, I could be all these things, and really just focus on one issue by raising awareness about how the health insurance industry, the pharmaceutical companies, yada 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 yada. So we participated in an annual lobby day where I'm sure many of you come, the government reform lobby day, and we went into Albany. A bunch of the college students and myself, we got all dressed up. This is our first time lobbying. We were a little bit nervous, but one thing we found was that everybody we spoke to about clean elections was like, yeah, sure, of course we want that. It's common sense. Everyone. We couldn't find a single person against clean elections. It was like, really a 99% kind of consensus. And so we go into Albany, and we meet with our local assembly people, and they basically laughed at us. They said, are you kidding me? Like, we're going to support this? I mean, if you think about it, it makes sense. If they want to keep their committeeship, they'd be the chair of that committee, or if they don't want to get, like, thrown down to, I don't know what the worst committee to be in is, but that's the one they get in if they signed on to support real campaign finance reform, like clean elections. And, I mean, of course, the party bosses, they don't want clean elections. They control the purse of the party. I mean, Sheldon Silver, he controls the money in the Democratic Party. He doesn't want a system that decentralizes power so regular folks can run for office and have just as much money as the party machine. That's a direct threat to his power. And so, yeah, the politicians, they played games, played cat and mouse with us, and we left that meeting, a series of meetings, just really depressed. We're like, wait a second, this isn't going to work. And we said, we're never coming back here until we have the power to unseat these fools. And so we went back and we kind of brainstormed. We're like, all right, well, what do we have? Well, wait, almost everybody supports this. Well, what don't we have? Well, money, okay. But we do have the fact that everyone supports it and we have the vote. And so what we started doing is we formed what's called a UMCC, an unauthorized multi-candidate committee with the Board of Elections. And we started going door to door in the district of the candidate that basically laughed at us. And we went with clipboards, and we essentially, at the time we called it a clean elections pledge, where voters were saying, if you want our votes, you need to support getting big money out of politics. Eventually we changed it, and now we're calling it the Money Out of Politics voting block, because there's a lot of ways to get money out of politics. And so we started building up this voting block, just a bunch of college kids. And we started getting hundreds of people signing up. Almost everyone we spoke to, once they, some people just don't want to talk to anyone. I mean, anybody who's done door to door knows that. But we started to get a really positive response. And people started signing up saying, yeah, I want to know, give me a call before the election. I want to know which candidates in my district support this. And so we started doing that. And then around election time, we did this, get out the vote, phone banking. We knocked on doors. We dropped off literature on people's doorsteps. We sent out email blasts. And we got out the vote for the candidates that were in the race that were supporting getting clean elections. And we were actually able to unseat that incumbent assembly person that had been there forever down in Newburgh, Beacon, Poughkeepsie area. And replace him with somebody supporting the
because of the data you were able to acquire from the pledge.
And so this is the Money Out of Politics voting block. We've got it here today. And one important thing about the way we're going about this, I think the tendency around election time is in the standard way is, if we're going to get involved, we've got to go volunteer for a campaign. But if you think about it, at the end of the day, if your candidate wins, maybe they'll listen to you. You volunteer for the campaign, maybe they won't. They really don't have to. If you made phone calls or whatever for that candidate. So we decided to take a different strategy. about building power independent of the political campaign. So we're doing our own get out the vote effort where we're building our list. If we go out, we get 1,000 people, but we don't swing that election, we've now got 1,000 more people in the voting block. We're coming back next time with that base. And you know, a fair amount of people check that box. Yeah, send me action alerts. I want to know. I want to be a volunteer. And so, you know, we've been continuing to grow. We were influential in unseating a state senator down in Queens who got elected when Nixon did, Frank Padovan, and then replaced him with Tony Abella, who, if any of you know New York State politics, he's a real champion of clean elections. He supported, he introduced clean elections in the city council down in New York City. And so now we've got 2 candidates in office right now that are big supporters of clean elections. And so we're building, and it's resonating within Occupy because people in Occupy don't really want to necessarily engage in the standard way. They don't want to help necessarily politicians in a short-term way. They want to remain that independence, and they want to build that force outside of the election. So that's the Money Out of Politics voting block, and it's such an important way to use what we have. We've got numbers. We've got the vast majority who want to get money out of politics, and do the same thing that the pro-choicers, the abortion people, that they've done. They've used that issue as a wedge, and they've divided the country roughly in half. But what we're doing is we're using that same tactic, except our issue is something that everyone agrees to. We're taking that same wedge and dividing it 1 and 99%. And that can be a tremendous force going into this upcoming election. Whether you're Tea Party, whether you're whatever your issue, you want to get money out of politics. So this is going to be passed around. I think Leslie's got some back there.
Actually, rather than passing it around, I think I can start.
Yeah, why don't we just go to Leslie and go to Matt and sign up.
And
I
then
think that would be better.
and then lastly, when you guys are going around getting people registered to vote, nothing better to get somebody registered to vote is get them excited. You know, go around, bring this with you, get them joined up to join the Money Out of Politics voting block, and then be like, you're registered to vote, right? And give them a reason to. So I really hope that we can work together on these things, and I'm really excited about this potential for coalition. So thanks
Great.
again.
Okay, great. Wonderful.